What's up, guys? Welcome back to the first No Empty Seats podcast.
Welcome.
My name is Michael Oyong. I'm the founder and president of No Empty Seats. This is Vivian Miller. Do you want to introduce yourself, Vivian?
Hey, guys. I'm Vivian Miller. I'm a sophomore at Brown studying applied math and education. I'm a former athlete. I used to be on the tennis team, but I'm transitioning away from tennis now and getting involved with No Empty Seats, and very excited to be here and help Mikey out with the podcast and everything No Empty Seats related.
Yeah.
Very excited to be here.
Super excited to have you on board, Vivian. We might talk about this later in the podcast, but we're part of this entrepreneurship venture accelerator where we got a grant stipend to work on No Empty Seats during the summer, and she's going to be helping me spearhead that.
Yes.
As we work on No Empty Seats expansion. So yeah, she's a very, very hard worker, and I'm excited to have her on board.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah. So just to introduce a little bit, we felt obligated. We felt inspired to make this podcast because No Empty Seats really is about changing the stigma, changing conversations, normalizing talking about mental health. And we always wanted to bring, our personality, our humor, and our experiences, our teen and college and high school experiences. And there's no other way to do that than I think through a podcast. So
the best way to do it.
100%. There's a lot of stuff that I feel like I haven't been able to share because I didn't have a chance to. I didn't have a chance as much to formulate these different lessons post or experience I've learned. But I'm excited to. I'm excited to get this going. Vivian's going to keep me in check and make sure we keep this going out bi-weekly. Mm-hmm. And yeah, without further ado, Vivian, if you want to say a couple things, but then feel free to jump into part one.
I feel like we can jump right into part one, which is kind of just about the founding of No Empty Seats in college and just kind of setting the stage of No Empty Seats, as a lot of you know if you're listening here, but just to kind of have it out there. So Mikey, tell about how you had the original idea for No Empty Seats. When did it happen? How have your personal experiences played into it? All of the above.
Awesome. Yeah, so just as an introduction, No Empty Seats is a mental health student-led nonprofit. Mm-hmm. I started it back in senior year of high school, and I've had my own experiences with mental illness, depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideations. And it was a really, really shitty couple of months. I like to say, depression is an accumulation of really shitty things, but happiness is an accumulation of a lot of good things. Mm-hmm. So there were a lot of really, really stressful factors in my life kind of crumbling together, and it got really, really overwhelming, and I was only 16 years old. So because of that, I realized two major lessons when I was going through these times. One was how relieving it was to tell someone I was going through something. I still remember it to this day, super vividly, when I first told my sister that I said, Annalise, I might be struggling, I might be depressed, and I think I need help. And that was the biggest weight off my shoulders. And the second big lesson I learned was I was thinking about how many people were going through the same things I was going through because I was hiding it so well. So with these two things in mind, I knew I wanted to share my story and almost surprise people because, I was doing a lot of things. I was perceived as, successful. Mm-hmm. I'm working hard at the top of my class and stuff like that. But, just because someone's carrying it well doesn't mean it isn't heavy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I started No Empty Seats. And the first post was a 10-slide essay talking about my depression and suicide ideations. Mm. And that's a pretty good representation of what it's all about, sharing stories and being vulnerable and normalizing mental health.
Yeah.
And from there, we've gone into a plethora of things, whether it's clothing brand stuff, No Empty Seats merch, mm-hmm. whether it's wristbands, whether it's collaborations, sharing stories, like I said, athletes, teams, dedicating their seasons to No Empty Seats and mental health awareness. We've done a lot of fundraising. We've donated $6,000 to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
Awesome.
And probably most notably that people recognize me from, we make mental health videos that encourage other people to get out of their comfort zone. And we like to do really, really goofy stuff.
Yeah.
For example, the Barbie flash mob, mm-hmm. which the video just dropped. And yeah, that's kind of it. I think why I wanted to start No Empty Seats and this community, this safe space, this nonprofit, is because I felt the only way to, change conversations is to and change the stigma and break the stigma.
Yeah, definitely.
Is to have, is to create mental health and like put mental health in like all these different spaces. So I think that kind of is reflected through like the chaotic nature of the content and on the Instagram.
Yeah, which is wonderful. And I feel like No Empty Seats has such a big presence on campus, which is so inspiring to me. Like as someone who struggled a lot, like throughout high school, less so, but maybe in freshman year, definitely. It's definitely been inspiring kind of seeing No Empty Seats like from a distance because I wasn't really involved freshman year. And kind of seeing that, yeah, that is something that a lot of people care about, and that is something that's really visible on campus, and a lot of that is because of Mikey and because of No Empty Seats. And so that's really inspiring, and like thank you for doing that for all the people. And that's kind of why I'm so interested in helping out at No Empty Seats, is because I want to do everything I can to try to prevent anybody from having that kind of experiences. And I mean, it's going to happen, but decreasing the stigma around that it does happen to everybody, and everybody goes through these
going through something
rough experiences at some point in my life, and some point in their lives. If you had to put the No Empty Seats mission into one sentence, what would you say that is?
Making mental health cool is what I would say.
Love that.
Like I said, I gotta kind of put all my outreach in all different necks of the woods, because people follow by example.
Yeah.
So that's why, do the athlete dedications. That's why I do the collaborations, so people realize that their friends that they look up to are willing to talk about mental health and be like, this No Empty Seats, this nonprofit that's about suicide prevention is really cool, and I support it.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to destigmatizing, I guess, is trying to make things cool. So yeah, that's what I would say.
I love that, and I think like something that can happen through No Empty Seats and through mental health awareness is that everybody has mental health, and
100%.
And so it's really accessible to everyone, whether they're struggling at that moment in their lives or not. Like everybody has it, and everybody needs to be aware of it. So it's very accessible to everyone, especially for everyone in college.
No, 100%. Another really important thing that I try to stress is you don't need to put a label on mental health.
Yeah.
Maybe not everyone might have mental illness or depression, anxiety, or suicidal ideations. Maybe you don't want to put yourself in that category, but you have mental health. And it's all relative to you. So if you're going through something, you're at a lower point in your life than relative to your happiness. And that should be addressed to make sure that you're feeling all right about yourself. You shouldn't be comparing and beating yourself up about other people that are going through worse things than you.
Yeah.
Just because someone's in a full body cast doesn't mean your busted ankle doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I think
point.
never put yourself in a box or put a label on your mental health. It's okay to not be okay. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of moving on to, like, I kind of wanted to talk about your freshman year experience, because like knowing you, I've heard a little bit about it, listening to you and talking about other things, and just knowing Empty Seats. Like I know you had quite a freshman year experience. I did as well.
Yeah.
And so can you kind of talk about like what was that experience? How did expectations differ from reality, and how did that kind of go into you thinking about having No Empty Seats, go into having you think about what mental health means to you differently in college versus in high school?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Yeah, I mean, just to put it frank, the freshman year was definitely really, really hard. At that point, it was definitely the hardest part, one of the hardest points in my life.
Yeah.
First couple of weeks were hell. I had so much anxiety about it, because I would, be looking out the window, hearing all the laughs, thinking about all the people that are having a good time. Thinking about I was so overwhelmed, the different classes and the different opportunities and the different clubs and stuff on campus, that it made me really stressed out, thinking I'm missing out already. I was thinking way too ahead. I think way too ahead right now. I was telling my friend Mac a couple of months ago that I was overthinking and looking at my course load and planning out all my different projects I want to do so much that I almost felt like a senior already.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about like all the internships or the job opportunities I'm not getting. And I know a lot of people resonate with that. That you like 2 weeks into freshman year, you're already questioning your major and whatnot, and feeling like everything's the end of the world.
Yeah, and it's also so stressful because we go to such a high-performing university. We both go to Brown, and And like just the nature of on a university, we are going to be around high performing people, and that is going to put a lot of pressure on us, especially as freshmen who are coming in. There's definitely going to be people around us who are very on top of their life, but there's also going to be people who are still figuring out, as everybody is. And so like it's interesting because I feel like I only see the people who I consider who are like killing it and who are like on top of everything. But that's not always as it seems, and that's also
100%.
not everybody out there.
No, yeah, I think that correlates a lot with when I was like out the window seeing people laughing, having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you're not gonna see the people that might be, you know, breaking down,
Yeah.
or the people like me that were looking out the window,
Yeah.
or just like really struggling to get out of bed, just transitioning, just the transition in and of itself, just moving different places. For most people, it was the first like living like arrangements, like adjustment in the first 18 years of their life. Like that in and of
crazy.
itself, or like disregarding any other stuff, is really, really overwhelming.
Yeah, that is overwhelming.
But no, that's a good point to bring up, that, you know, people want to highlight the good things, and that those things are naturally going to come up and float to the top, and that's what everyone's going to be perceived as.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're here to break that stigma and talk about how stressed we are.
Yeah, because I guarantee when you
lives.
were looking out the window in your freshman dorm, I was probably doing the same about a block away.
No, yeah. So basically, this podcast is here to complain about ourselves.
We're just here to talk about how overwhelmed we are, how stressed we are. No.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I'd rate the freshman year.
Yeah.
Just a lot of overthinking and feeling like it was the end of the world when I was, you know, in reality, just coming back from an ice cream social on the first day of Brown University.
Ice cream social, good times.
When I talk to people, when I talk to people about that, I feel like everyone has just the worst experience.
Everybody was putting on a face that they were so happy, and then everyone probably went home and cried.
No, that was terrible.
Yeah, good times. And how has that kind of changed throughout your time at Brown? Has it changed? How's it panned out? How have you found your people? How have you approached this year differently?
I think, honestly, to be entirely honest, these semesters might have been harder, but definitely in different ways.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a lot. School has picked up more. People always think it's interesting that last year, I thought the school was the easy part. Just because I was taking classes that I already took in my high school.
Yeah.
And now things are picking up a little bit. And I'm definitely feeling like, you know, a student at a high-achieving university.
Yeah, I really agree with that. I
think that's part of the sophomore slump.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I feel like last year there were so many transitional struggles that school was just kind of something that I knew I was good at and that I've been doing my whole life. That was like one constant, I guess, between high school and college is that you're still going to class. And although it's very different, you're still going to class, doing your homework, taking exams. But everything else is pretty much different.
100%. I think last year I would hate the weekends because I would feel super lonely, even though maybe there were events that I was invited to or that were going on. I would still feel super lonely.
Yeah.
And I actually, I hated the weekends, but now I feel like I wish I could have more weekends to catch up on work.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that's really important to remember is, like, even though we share that, you know, really similar experience, it's totally fair that someone might be feeling the same way they did last year now. Mm-hmm. Like, everyone's really on their own timeline.
Of course, yeah.
Your time is coming.
Yes.
And things always do get better.
Of course.
I know even though it is scary to say things have felt harder than last year, I 100% am happy I'm here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy I'm still standing, still up to the fight. And I think that's an important thing to remember. Like, even though things might be harder, even though things might be easier, we're still standing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like all these struggles that we're having, they're different struggles and like different year to year, semester to semester, month to month, day to day.
Yeah, things change.
But like, I see it now as like opportunity for growth and opportunity to like get help in different areas in your life and make more connections. And like have definitely gone through a variety of different struggles, some that have been harder than others, but they're all kind of growing experiences for me, at least.
100%. I think, interestingly enough, I would say the hardest part of this year has been feeling like shit and knowing it'll get better, but just kind of waiting for that part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think we all understand that growth, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the only way is through, and sometimes the wall we have to get through is 4 organic chemistry exams. So
Oh boy.
Exactly, yeah. So
Good
it's
stuff.
been I think I guess that's a more level-headed thing to think of. Like I guess it's a more level-headed way that I'm thinking about things, which I guess is a good sign that I definitely haven't been feeling too depressed. That I'm looking at things pretty straightforward, that I'll feel better in the summer.
Yeah.
But like this kind of fucking sucks a lot now.
Yeah. College is hard.
Yeah, it's definitely been taking a big toll on me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess to wrap up that question, that long-standing question, freshman year was really hard. It's so important that you take care of yourself and just kind of thug it out and just keep pushing. Keep showing up for yourself. Just do one little thing. You don't need to.
Did you just say thug it out?
Yeah. You don't need to go to everything. I think that's another thing that stressed people out too. During what is it called? O-week, orientation week.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
There was this like itinerary of, and it felt like you had to go to every single thing.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting because like I'm definitely grateful that our college offers that kind of stuff where there's so many, like there's so much time to meet people.
Yeah.
But like it got super overbooked.
Yeah, like if you didn't even have an hour of a break, like it would just be always social.
For 7 days.
Yeah.
So many ice cream socials.
So many socials. So much speed friending.
Yeah.
Speed friending.
That's
that's
another thing.
At people. What's your name? Where are you from?
Where are you living right now?
What's your concentration?
Yeah, it's the worst shit ever.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I'm definitely not a fan of that surface level talk. Some people say I'm good at it.
That you're good at it?
Which I think is funny, yeah.
Yeah.
With like carrying a conversation, but it takes so much out of me.
Oh my gosh. And I don't feel like I made many, if any, social, like permanent, like very long-standing social connections through those kind of things.
Yeah, it's a cool experience, you know what I mean? To definitely like have friendly faces.
Yeah.
But like it's not even
not the end all be all.
It's not even close to like life or death. It's funny.
Yeah.
I think I felt that way when my brother and other people that weren't freshmen were like, this is the only time that people are this eager to meet people. And I was like that, and with that retrospect, that is true, but like it shouldn't like that's not too big of a deal to miss it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But I also feel like throughout our time in college, like people are always looking to make more friends. Like why wouldn't you want to have more friends?
And I guess to close this out, a super big thing that I think is important to remember is like it's okay to be an introvert. Mm-hmm. I think that it doesn't need to be your personality trait or anything, but like it's okay to enjoy time by yourself. It's okay to sit. Like people like, it's funny when people are saying like I'm the most social person. I know everyone, but I probably spend more time in my room than anyone listening to this. Like I really enjoy time by myself. My social battery drains super quickly. I have a really small circle. It's nice to be acquaintances with everyone, to connect with people, to have cool conversations and know like all these different like super unique talented people.
Yeah.
But like to break down that facade, like I'm such an introvert. And it took me a year and a half to really become comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Like I eat by myself like pretty much every meal.
Yeah. That's very normal.
Thugging it out.
Okay. We wanted to talk about college rejections, college decisions, because that is such current topic right now. And I mean, I feel like all college age students kind of had their own experience with college decisions, college rejections. And then for those high schoolers who are listening, who are getting those decisions now, it's either coming or it's happening right now. And we kind of wanted to talk about that.
Mm-hmm. And talk about also how, this kind of manifesting of the imposter syndrome and feeling and basing these outcomes on your worth kind of manifests throughout college. Like it doesn't stop too much talking about like internships and just grades and stuff like that.
Yeah, and how for a lot of times when you get college decisions back, it's the first kind of real rejection a lot of people face in their lives.
After putting in like a lot of
putting in a lot of work, and I mean, at least for me, when I didn't get into colleges that I wanted to get into, then that was like the first time that I was really experiencing true rejection.
100%.
I was recruited as a tennis player, which I can speak to, which was definitely a unique experience. But it was kind of like the first time in my life, like college recruiting was hell for me. It was not fun. I was too young. I was really stressed out. I had to talk to all these coaches and kind of always.
What age?
I think I was okay. So for tennis, recruiting starts the summer after your sophomore year, I think, and so. I don't know, how old would I be?
I was saying, because you told me you were 15 in these interviews talking to college
like 15
coaches
or 16, because I was pretty young for my grade.
World.
And it's literally where you're going to college. Like, I was emailing coaches when I was a freshman in high school. Like, so it's just like a lot of pressure to put on people who are so young. And I remember it was kind of the first time that I was feeling real stress and real pressure on me from kind of myself, from my parents, from the world around me, while also having to go through high school. And I also was doing recruiting during COVID, so all the stressors involved that.
100%.
But like, yeah, my experience with recruiting happened earlier than maybe someone who applied without athletics. But can you kind of talk about your experience with how you got to Brown?
Yeah, that's definitely, this is all stuff I really wanted to harp on. What was I going to say? Blanking out. Oh yeah, I think, 100% thanks for sharing that. I think what's really powerful that you're talking about is the idea of true rejection. We've definitely, had our fair share of, I guess mild rejections, but it definitely did feel like the end of the world. And I'm sure you've been playing tennis all your life, and then I'm sure like this call felt like this is it, this is the moment, don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Even though you were 15. Okay, so the recording stopped, so we'll just.
I feel like we can just do audio.
Yep. So I think it was really important. I still don't fully understand this now and fully internalize it now, but you have to be proud of the effort and the passion you put into and the discipline you put into whatever you've been working on without worrying about the outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I'm still working on that so much. But yeah, I 100% agree with what you're saying. It definitely felt like it was the be all or end all. I would say I wanted to address this immediately. We go to Brown University. You were recruited as a D1 athlete.
Yeah.
We are on the is it the shorter end or the long? We are on the longer end of the stick.
Yeah.
We
got really lucky.
We should definitely speak from that. Definitely speak from that privilege.
Yeah.
I go to my top dream school.
Yeah.
I mean, I was deferred, and that was pretty heartbreaking. But
you were deferred from Brown?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
As a legacy too, but I don't think I was banking on that too much.
Look at you go.
So I go to my dream school. I love Brown.
I love Brown. Brown's awesome.
It's so cool. Other, high academic schools, people are stepping on each other's toes.
Yeah.
But I really think what shines through isn't the open curriculum or the pass-fail shit. I actually think it's the no GPA, because I never talk about grades to anyone.
Yeah.
It's actually really freeing. Like, I was talking to my friend about physics grade last year, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it went well. How about you?" And I was like, "Yeah, it went pretty good." And we could have been talking about, failing to C to B, or B to A, or just like, or acing all the tests. But like, it was good for like whatever was going on in their life.
Yeah,
100%. Given whatever personal circumstances.
Yeah.
So.
But kind of going back to how you went about, Mikey was kind of talking yesterday how he went about alumni interviews and how much pressure you felt with that.
Yeah.
Like how did you go about like the college process? How many schools were you looking at? How many did you get accepted into?
100%. Yeah, that's a great question. But yeah, I'll close it out by 100% saying, we go to our dream school. Like, this is I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, and I go to my top school.
Yeah.
And I realize I have that privilege. But, and here we go. This is where I wanted to complain. I got rejected from Northeastern, UVA, Hopkins, Penn, Duke, Dartmouth, Cornell,
You really remember all of them.
Northeastern, Boston College, NYU, and deferred from Brown.
Wow.
So I think the biggest thing that people need to realize is, yeah, people are like, oh, you go to Brown, you have such a good education, things are panned out for you. This, reinforces and shows credentials to your nonprofit so much. Yes, that's true, but also I was one college decision away from having a really terrible cycle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Having a really bad application period.
Yeah, and people look at your results and say,
as just
wow.
a kid that goes to Ivy League school.
Yeah.
But I was one decision away, and who knows what could have gone into that. Whether it be like someone accidentally threw my thing in there, like what the fuck is this kid doing here? I thought he was in the deferred pile. Whether it was my dad, I don't freaking know, with legacy admissions.
Yeah.
Whether it was no empty seats, which I like to think got me in, and because I'm still working on it now. It's still like I hope they saw the passion through it.
Yeah.
Whether it was just my grades in general, my SAT score, no one knows, and you can't base that outcome of whatever the fuck happened in that, whatever happened in that admissions committee.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think another important thing to remember is people also like to bring up and look up to me in regard to no empty seats. That has nothing to do with Brown at all. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like to think I would have continued this, kept working on it, made videos in any college.
Yeah.
But obviously, Brown is a really awesome place that kind of facilitated this kind of growth, this large growth, and these people that are super supportive of it. And another great example is gave the opportunity for me to teach and instruct and create my own class about mental health awareness.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a back and forth, but I think it's so important to remember I'm no different. I don't think people who got into, Duke, Harvard, Penn should act like they know the secret sauce. We all are so fucking lucky.
Yeah, we are.
It was such a toss of the die.
And it's honestly all about fit.
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like you hear everyone say that, but it's so true. And
Yes.
I was lucky to have to choose a school based on fit. But when things were tough, it was definitely did I make the wrong decision because things are tough and because I don't feel like I fit in very well here. And luckily I figured that out. But if you're choosing a school that maybe has the best brand name, quote unquote brand name, but it's not a good fit for you, it's not there's no success, quote unquote
100%.
Success there if you're having a bad experience.
100%.
If you're not it's all about, at least for me, it's all about, yes, of course, getting your degree, getting your diploma, getting good grades, but it's more about having this positive experience, getting to do cool things like No Empty Seats podcast and just enjoying your time in college.
There's more to life than name brand stuff.
Of course.
But then again,
we
go to Brown.
Yeah.
So we are definitely got to keep acknowledging that.
Yeah.
No, I 100% agree with that. I've walked out of test acing them and feeling so empty because I just spent so much time on it, or I'm just feeling not good about myself mentally, and I've walked out of tests flunking them and just feeling good because I have been having a great week with my friends, and there's more to life than that stuff. But also take with a grain of salt that obviously we work hard and we're trying to have good grades and trying to learn as much as possible and have the grades reflect that.
Yeah. Something that as an education major we talk a lot about in college admissions is kind of how somewhat random the college admissions process is.
100%.
And there are so many factors that play a part in whether you're getting into a school or not. And so it's really hard to look at that while you're in the moment, but keep in mind that if you're at your dream school, of course you deserve to be there, but the decision was also somewhat random. Yeah, exactly. And
if you're not there, it doesn't mean you don't deserve it.
Of course, yeah. If you were to look back at yourself in high school, what would you first of all, what would you think of yourself, in regards to how stressed you were around the college admissions process? What would you look like? What would you think of yourself?
I definitely, this is going to happen as, always as the years progress by. I thought I definitely had a bigger ego when I was like 18, 17 and thought I knew it all and stuff like that. And I'm sure when I'm going to be like 22, I'm going to think that about myself now.
Yeah.
So I definitely give myself grace regarding that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I have a really unique high school experience. Actually, not necessarily, especially with this sample group at Brown. We can definitely go into a little more in the other episodes. But yeah, I had a really, really stressful high school experience. Like I said, of how depression is an accumulation of a lot of things. This included, external and internal pressures to succeed, seasonal depression. Our high school had really high expectations. For example, we raised $130,000, a part of 12 seniors, our senior year, for a summer camp dedicated to kids with or affected by cancer or sickle cell anemia. That is my sales pitch that I had to go to donate door to door.
Yeah.
I don't know. I blinked out a little bit. That was always expected. There are people that cry each year worrying about if they make six figures. And it's so funny to think about that, but that's real.
Wow, interesting.
And I was in my bubble of high school, and it felt like it was normal.
Yeah.
Another thing is we didn't have lunch because if you wanted quote unquote academic fortitude to be able to go to these schools, you could choose not to take a lunch.
Wow, that's crazy.
And that's
Wow.
I didn't know that was weird until I left my high school. But I think the most important thing to recognize is I don't think that should validate why I've been, like my worsened mental health. You know what I mean? Like that. Like I had a really hard time, and I don't think I should have to explain that to anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I should have to justify it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because mental health is not.
It's relative.
And it's not just because of like what's around you. It could be just,
Exactly.
It's because of what's inside of you.
It's not. Yeah. It's not the victim Olympics. It's like, even though like those were my experiences, just because I was not feeling good about myself, and that's the end of story. And like the people around me should have and did, take care of me and make sure that I was feeling good by myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. Yeah, I was in a pressure cooker back in my high school. It was the seasonal depression was hit really, really hard there in upstate New York. So yeah, that's what I say. I'm really happy to be out of it and realize like there's so much more to life, and my high school is really like a small bubble, and I'm happy that I reaped the good things, like in understanding hard work and being personable. But yeah, what would you tell yourself about your 15-year-old self talking to college coaches?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I put so much pressure on myself, and I'm notoriously very bad at talking on the phone. I've gotten a lot better, but I was notoriously very bad at talking on the phone.
I think you're good at it.
Thank you. And so I like from the beginning, I was like rehearsing how I'm gonna talk to coaches and thinking about how to put my best foot forward. Honestly, what I'm kind of doing now in like interviews and when I'm 19. And so I was kind of getting quote unquote practice with that when I was super young, which maybe is good for long term, but I was so stressed out about it. I took so much time to think about it, and everyone kind of approaches college recruiting differently. I definitely approached it pretty intensely. I think I would just tell myself that it's all gonna work out, and I mean, and that and to not worry about the name brand, because that is something that I worried
100%.
a lot about, and that is not like, yeah, again, coming from Brown, but is not important. For me, it's all about fit, and I'm lucky because I fit in really well at Brown with all the people here and
100%.
with the style of curriculum and just culture here, but it's all about kind of where you're going to be able to excel the most.
Thrive,
and I don't think I understood that when I was in high school, but I'm lucky that I made a good decision that kind of reflected those beliefs.
No, 100%. Yeah, I think I kind of feel that too. It just kind of felt like a blur, but I'm just a relief that you're here. Mm-hmm. I feel good. I'm in a good spot, even though this is the hardest semester of my life.
Yeah.
I'm managing to the best of my ability, and we can take on this challenge. You know what I mean?
Is there anything else you want to say?
I don't think so. It's kind of crazy. We just ended. We've been yapping.
I know. This is great. I just get to talk. We just get to talk and listen to ourselves talk.
Yeah, the headphones go to
The
our
headphones,
ears.
We're in the AV room at the Rock, and
And
we
the
get to
headphones
listen
go to
it.
our ears, so we just hear ourselves and how smart we are and how
We sound very, I think we are really cool right now.
we're so obligated. We feel so smart that we can profess wisdom to to all these peasants because we're listening to ourselves talk.
Yeah, exactly.
And posting it about us listening to ourselves talk.
This is very college of us.
Podcasts are very self-centered. So
Yeah. Well, hopefully this helps someone.
It's
Hopefully someone is entertained by us.
It's I think another big thing that is important to remember is it's help. Like, this is definitely helping me. Like, Vivian, you saw before, I was feeling super, super anxious beforehand. Like I said, I got a 60 on my fucking chem test.
Wonderful. Good stuff. It's
yeah,
okay.
that class is not fun.
Who cares?
So yeah, I am definitely in the dumps right now, but I'm glad that you're able to help pick me up, and we can show up for ourselves and do this. So
show up for no empty seats.
As long as you're helping yourself, that might be the only person you're helping. That's all that matters. So fuck you guys if you don't like this podcast.
All right, and we'll end there.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Oh, let's head to our announcements.
Yeah, heading to the announcements.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching the No Empty Seats first podcast.
We're not watching anything. Listening.
We post on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Thank you guys so much for watching the first No Empty Seats podcast. I really appreciate you guys being here. We're going to try to get out about bi-weekly and get some clips out to you guys on Instagram, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, and Spotify. A couple announcements to keep in mind for. Check out the link in the description to sign up for No Empty Seats Club. If you guys want to be a part of mental health awareness, doing some fun videos, spreading our clothing brand and stuff like that, and sharing stories and collaborating with other people, to share our experiences, then I'm more than happy to have you guys on the team. We're going to do a pop-up shop, so be aware for that in the next couple weeks. We're going to be collaborating with Thinking of You XOXO, which is another blog page / mental health account. I know them because they're taking the mental health class, which are really cool. So shout out Sarah Barrett and Kate Collier, and we're going to be collaborating with them soon. So stay tuned for a nice Main Green Day when we're going to be on the pop-up shop. Check out the Barbie video. That shit took me 5 months. I spent $1,000 on it. There's a Ken right here. There's a Ken right here. I spent 6 weeks choreographing the dance. Choreographing the dance. $1,000 on costumes. 5 months editing. I was managing like 30 or 40 different shots. It's my best work. It's my magnum opus.
It looks wonderful.
Thank you, Vivian. I appreciate it. So yeah, make sure to check that out. And lastly, make sure to keep buying the No Empty Seats wristbands, stickers, and clothing. We're gonna start our season 2. Try to make new designs and stuff and new colorways. But this stuff I'm never gonna restock or anything like that. So make sure you get it while you can. The blue and the purple No Empty Seats sweatshirts. Very, very comfortable. How comfortable are they?
They're just amazing.
Awesome.
My favorite one.
So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it.
And stay tuned for more.
Much more to come. Vivian will make sure that I stay consistent, and this will be something we'll focus on throughout the summer and whatnot. So yeah, thank you for watching. And I hope you guys have a good day. Awesome.
Bye.